be on Amazon. If it's your first platform to start with, I like to take beginners there because they have all that built-in traffic. They have eyeballs on offer, and sales fixes everything, right?
I always feel like I have an eye for a product, you know, like I'll see something and be like, oh, you know, I'll be on Alibaba, like just scrolling through and I'm like, dude, and especially, you know, as a marketer and someone who creates video content and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, I could like make a cool video.
All the thing that led up to the bankruptcy was my desire to get to profit, needed to make $1 million before I was 40, and I was doing anything possible to do that.
It's all about this, you know, hustle, grind, crush, and you know, creating the perfect email sequence and funnel to hack, you know, whatever it is. Are you ready to feel like it's Friday every day? I'm Mark Labriola II, and this is the Friday Habit. We interview experts to learn how to bring excitement, possibility, and sweet, sweet relief into every single day, no matter what day it is. If you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, or agency leader, get ready to grow your business, lead with purpose, and build a life you love. Welcome to the Friday Habit. Here at the Brand Viva Media headquarters in Denver, Colorado. And listen, have you ever thought about starting an Amazon business? Have you ever thought, you know what? I think I found the perfect product in China at a great price and I could market this perfectly and sell it to millions of people and create an amazing side hustle. Well, what if you could build that 7-figure business on Amazon without investing in a product or building a brand from scratch? Because on this episode of The Friday Habit, I'm joined by Neil Twa, e-commerce growth expert, founder of Volta Digital Marketing, and one of the top minds behind building and scaling private label brands on Amazon. Neil has helped hundreds of entrepreneurs launch profitable e-com businesses, often using his $1 million store strategy, a system that consistently produces 6- and 7-figure exits. So, whether you're a product creator, a digital marketer, or just someone curious about creating leveraged income streams, Neil's blueprint could change how you think about e-commerce. Neil, did I get that right?
Oh, there's a lot of good stuff in there, man. My head is so big, I might not even make it off the podcast now.
You're just going to float away.
I mean, get out the door of my office, man. Come
That's
on,
right. You're going to go home, your family's like, what happened to you? Did you get stung by bees? It's like, no, I was on the Friday Habit, and I'm all swollen.
Dude, I was getting my ego pumped.
Neil, dude, how's it going?
I'm good, man.
Where are you located?
I'm out in the Ozark Mountains.
The Ozarks.
Yeah. 10 hours from you or so.
Okay, yeah. I could road trip. Yeah. We could road trip to the Ozarks. Wasn't there a TV show called The Ozarks?
Oh, I'm familiar with that. A few people have talked to me about that. It's you know, they're running drugs the other direction.
Do you have a strip club and a drug ring that you're...
See, on our side, it's the moonshine. It goes out east. On the other side, they're running drugs out to the west coast. So, we don't cross over there.
That's right. Is that where you grew up? Is that where you're from?
You know, ironically, I was born here in Missouri, but when I was 2, my parents moved. So I actually grew up on the west coast.
Oh, nice.
And
okay.
Then bounced around.
Kind of got normal, and then you got to move back to the...
Yeah, well, I bounced all over the place. Ended up living in New York for a while. I lived all over the United States, traveled the world, and then, you know, met a girl, as the story goes. And,
that's how it happens. You know, love just really does a lot to you. You know. How long have you been married?
18, going on 19 years.
Okay, dude. Yeah, I'm in the same bucket. We're going on 21.
Good for you.
So
that's a big win, man.
Yeah, dude, you know it is, right? Like, marriage is not easy. It's like one of the hardest things ever, and especially when you're an entrepreneur, like, you know, a small business owner. It's like you're so distracted. There's so much going on.
It certainly can be.
It's like trying to find
That's the number 2
time.
rule for my girls.
Yes.
Who you choose to marry is probably the biggest decision you'll ever make. Right behind control the controllables. That's the first one.
Control the controllables. And then let everything else just roll off,
go,
right?
Man. Just
because otherwise you just be fretting and stress and anxiety.
I can't do this. I didn't hit that. I wanted this to happen. It didn't happen. You get all depressed, and the whole cycle of crap ends up. Pretty much you're smoking fentanyl, living on the street, living in a cardboard box.
That's right. You're stealing money from your grandma and needling your toes for
not grandma again.
You said you have girls, daughters, then?
I have girls, man. You know, when I was young,
girl dad. Hashtag girl dad.
Well, yeah, I said, please send me beautiful women, God, please. Lots of beautiful women. And I was a young man. He's a funny humor because he did it, but he did it much later in life. So I have 4 daughters.
Oh, wow. 4 daughters.
4
daughters. Kept trying for that boy, and it was like, all right, just one more. One more.
dude.
And then the fourth time, you're like, maybe the fifth will be a boy. And
it's it's coming in. They're coming in for son-in-laws now, so I'm just kind of scanning the horizon.
How old are your kids?
The oldest is 17. The youngest is 12.
Same, exactly.
Really? You got two in the middle too?
I just got one in the middle. So my oldest is a 17-year-old boy. He's going to be a senior in high school. Nice. And then my middle son is 14, and then my daughter's 12.
Well, I got the 15-year-old and the 12-year-old in between that, and the 13-year-old. So
okay, nice, dude. So you're a busy man, yeah. And then all girls. One of my employees, he's a four girl dad, and
we're a different breed.
He homeschools them as well. They homeschool them.
That's cool.
Oh, do you really?
Oh, okay, yeah. See, a lot of these guys, these girl dads, we know what's up.
Yeah, you guys know what's up because you don't want any boys eyeing you. You're just like, I was a boy in high school once.
Dude,
I do not want those creeps.
I see what's going on. Dude, I'm not. No, man. No. I don't know. No. Shotguns.
I know. I tell my daughter all the time. I'm like, she's like, when can I date? She's 12, and I'm like, not until you're 18. She's like, well, that's not fair.
They don't ask that around here. Homeschool kids. We're awkward, we're unsocialized, all that good stuff.
Oh, totally. I actually homeschooled 5th, 6th, 7th grade, and I skipped 8th grade, went to 9th. And so, I think when you homeschool, your world is, your parents and everything around you. And then typically what I found is, and then being a homeschooler, I was a very curious person. I was always like, interested in stuff, and I was like reading books, and it was like I wanted to go adventure. I'd escape, and be gone all day, just like riding my bike around the neighborhood, like just
that was our generation.
Yeah, exactly. And so then, when I got to high school, it was like they put me in, 9th grade, and then I was like all these people, and I was just like super curious and talkative, and people were like, dude, you're weird. Like, what's going on? And I was like,
leave me alone, dude. You're weird.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just a curious person. I got questions. So podcasting is a great format for me.
Our kids go out. People yell about socializing. I'm like, we can over socialize our kid because we can travel, we can go out, we can schedule our own schedule. We do what we want to do. We do it as a family unit. We're always together. My kids are always out and about. So like socializing is just one of those stupid myths. At the end of the day, I look at my girls and I'm like, can you have a conversation? Can you, be in a place where people are and have an intelligent conversation and talk to them about anything you're interested in, things they're interested. Can you interact and my girls are no worries, man.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I
love
hold
that.
them back a little bit actually because they're so go-getters.
I feel like homeschoolers a lot of times, and ranch kids I've noticed. Like I've met a few people who like they're like on a homestead or a ranch, and then they have like 2 or 3 little kids, and then they just come right up to you, look you in the eye, shake your hand, and like tell them your name. I'm like,
yes, sir.
Whoa,
no man.
These are some good kids. Like
Yeah,
so I thought my kids were good.
About this area. They are that way around here, man. It's yes, sir, and no, ma'am, opening doors and doing all the old stuff. We live on 50 acres, and so my girls have all their chores, their animals. Dad, there was a dead duck, but I took care of it. These girls are like, in the dirt all the time.
Dude, you're a blessed man.
I feel like it. A lot of people go, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It's so crazy. I have 4 girls and their heads are spinning and they're vomiting on you. And they're like, they wake up like exorcist demons. And every month
happening all at the same time. And
every month they turn into a bunch of horror demons. And I'm like, not in my house. My wife is like a sergeant at arms, man. I got to give her kudos
nice.
She is a sergeant with those ducks, and she does not let them quack out of line.
That's good.
100% control of your emotions, 100% control of your actions. You can knock them in here like a wrecking ball. Yeah. You got to take control of yourself. And so she leads with a strong arm, and they follow really well.
That's awesome. How did you guys meet?
Random occurrence through a friend. I was actually on the tail end of a very nasty divorce, and I was about 2 years into the final process. So in my mind, I'm out and I'm on my own.
Are you Mormon or Catholic?
No, no.
You got married at 19?
No, I did actually. No, I was 20. But and that wasn't a good fit, man. That was a terrible fit. Yeah, no. So we did it met through a mutual friend from work. He
Old
said, we got
school.
This barbecue, come on over and check it out. And we have some friends or whatever. And I met her there, and it wasn't the right timing. We just became friends and had conversation and kept it up to date. And then later on, something snapped. Something was like, oh, this is very different. There's a guy that told me this the other day. He's like, when you are looking for somebody, you'll never find them. When you're not looking for them, that's exactly when you'll bump into them, and it'll happen. So I tell anybody who's willing to listen, if you're looking for somebody, stop looking.
Exactly.
Just go about your life, do your things, and they'll bump into you. Just make sure you're not so arrogant and prideful and vain you won't listen to them or pay attention to them. Get away from me.
Yeah, I know. When I was younger, that was always the case. Like I was always like trying to get a girl, and then as soon as I'd get a girlfriend, like all these hot girls started like knocking on my door and be like, "Hey, you want to hang out?" I'm like, "Dang it, I'm in a relationship," you know. So
yeah, you should just have that sort of as a dating service. You know, get a mobile app going now that's just like just take them on a date so you can hook up with a real girlfriend, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like that magical wand of.
It's the law of attraction, right?
Yeah.
If I want it, if I can't have it.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
My wife and I, we actually went to elementary school and high school together, but never knew each other.
Cool.
Well, we never knew each other. So it was like
you went to school together. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But like in high school,
You too good for her?
no, she was like the hot athlete, and I was the chubby choir kid. And so like we just like walked in different hallways, you know.
I thought there was something vibing here because I was the geeky, band guy.
Okay, yeah, we walked in the same hallway.
Oh, heck yeah, dude. Opposite of everyone else.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
She was like in the activities hall, like all the cool kids, like
cool kids hang out.
Yeah. And so then she went off to college to play Division I soccer, and then her junior year of college she tore her ACL, and then her like little sister was hanging out with my friend, and like that's how we met.
The heck, man.
Yeah.
We're falling past. I tore mine in freshman year on a pickup game.
Oh, really?
Intramural football when I was going to walk on for basketball, and that pretty much
Ruined your basketball
totally
career.
blew out that knee and was like, well, crap. Yeah, my basketball career.
You were going to be Larry Bird, man. You were going to be the next Larry Bird, and it got robbed.
I was going for the Trailblazers, man. No, that was not going to be. Actually, what I was headed for was a van down by the river because I went to school on a full ride music scholarship.
Okay.
So I was going to end up in music and theory.
You're a high school music teacher.
Oh, high school musical. That was my nickname in college. Yeah, no, I went to school as a fallback just to go. I played trumpet. I played since the fourth grade. I didn't know what to do. I was going to be a fighter pilot. That's what I really wanted to do, man. I wanted to fly the F-16.
Top Gun Maverick over here. Totally, Iceman, dude. You kind of look like an Iceman.
Well, I could probably pull it off, except I couldn't fit in the plane, so they kicked me out.
Oh, what are you, like 6'5" or something like that?
6'5". But all my height is from my waist up, so like
you
the
look
legs
normal
would
from
fit,
here.
but they couldn't close the canopy. So like you're out. I'm like, wow, dang it, now what? I guess I'll go to college.
Your dreams are just dashed on the rocks.
Oh, it's totally sucked. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't fill out any scholarships. I didn't do the plan. I didn't do anything. I went and did the test, and they took me to the first part of the ROTC, and then they're just like, dreams crushed, brother. You're out. It's like you can fly the big planes. You can be an aviation mechanic. I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing that.
You're like, I'm not going to do that. It's fighter jets or nothing.
Dude, that was literally what it was. So I'm like, well, now what? They're like, well, maybe you can go to school on a music scholarship. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So did you play trumpet then all through college or what?
I did.
Okay.
I played all through high school, college, and did all right.
I don't know how old you are. I mean, you look like a pretty young guy, but we have the same age kids, so I'm like, maybe we're close to the same age. But
39? Are you 39 with your 10-year anniversary?
21-year anniversary coming up, but I'm 44.
Oh. I'm 20 on my 29th anniversary, so technically I'm 49, but I just tell everybody it's an anniversary now. I don't count birthdays anymore, just anniversaries.
No, but so anyway, so when I was in high school, like ska was big, it's like the Boss Tones and Less Than Jake, and like, so I always had the horn sections and stuff.
Nice.
And so it's funny because now my son, he's 17 and he's really into ska and punk, and so it's like all the stuff that he likes is the stuff that I kind of listened to in high school, and so.
That's funny because I'll take my kids through the 90s and they're like, what is this crap? They're like, you think the music today is bad? What is this? I'm like, dude, that's Green Day. You're just totally uneducated.
I know. That's so funny. Like that's when you know you're old, right? When you're like, they just don't make good music anymore. And
no, it's the worst part is when you get on YouTube and you start watching some reaction videos and people are like, this is the first time I've ever seen Metallica, and I'm like, how the hell? What the?
Right. Exactly. I know, that's so funny. Yeah, it's funny having kids because they definitely, I think they keep you young in some ways, right? Because like my daughter who's 12, I'm listening to like Ariana Grande and like all this stuff. We're like rocking out. And I try to connect with all the kids, and music is one of those things that kind of binds us all because I'm pretty eclectic in my music taste. So it's like my daughter's listening to Taylor Swift and whoever else, and I'll like jam out with her and be like, oh, this is good. And then my middle son's the most eclectic. He likes kind of all music. He's got a good like vibe, in the sense of like he feels music, and so it's like he'll listen to jazz or something like that and be like, oh, do you hear that bass line? And I'm like, yeah, I do, that's really nice,
Feels
and like
the music,
yeah, exactly. And then my older son, he's just kind of that typical like punk or ska. Everything else sucks, you know.
All of their music is bad.
Yeah, exactly.
We listen to all kinds of music around here. Mostly, the girls really love country music. Surprise.
You're in the country, you know, there's something about it's like, got my pickup truck and a barrel of hay.
They just tell
and it's
stories,
like they're just
man.
singing
There's
my
some
life.
great stories telling in there. There's some Loretta Lynn, Dolly Parton.
Dude, Dolly Parton. I love Dolly Parton.
Storytelling.
She tells amazing stories. And then, like, you know, how many hits she wrote. You know, I don't know.
And a lot of others, too.
Yeah, she wrote so many songs for other people.
Yep.
You know, like, I love her version of I Will Always Love You, which Whitney Houston made popular in the 90s. Yes. But, like, she recorded a version, like, back in the 60s or I think 70s. And it's just, like, haunting, you know, and, like, her voice is just so, like, pure and sweet. And, like, I love Dolly Parton. She's the best.
Good country stuff. Girls love it when it comes on. They like the Dixie Chicks, the older stuff, not so much.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of the Dixie Chicks, especially their like first 2 records.
Yeah,
you know, Cowboy Take Me Away and like all that stuff.
All that good stuff.
Yeah, in the 90s, people were like, "Oh, you're so gay." You know, that was a big thing in the 90s to say you're gay.
Well,
and it was, and so it was like I like Dixie Chicks and Sarah McLachlan and like there's a handful of like that I was like.
Since we're not being politically correct,
exactly. Yeah, see, you can say that in the 90s too. Oh, you're so retarded.
Yes, you could.
Yeah, we just called our friends gay and retarded 90s. All the time. In the 90s.
Not now. I'm going to get kicked off your podcast.
Well, this episode's going to get shadow banned on YouTube.
Totally shadow banned.
They're not going to play it. It's like, oh, we read the script.
This is for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, exactly.
See, we're covered now.
Yeah.
You can put it on TikTok.
That's right. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so it's cool. I love having kids and a family, and I always tell people it's like, you know, there's such a blessing. And, you know, when you're young, I feel like I have a lot of friends who have waited to get married till they're older, and then they've waited to have kids. And I'm always like, listen, it can be difficult, but in the same way, it's kind of like a 401k plan where, you know, when you're young and someone says, hey, take part of your check and put it away in this thing, and someday you'll be really happy that you did that.
Okay. Yeah, that's one way to look at it.
And then you're like, when you're a young person, you're kind of like, oh, well, I don't want to take part of my check. But then when you grow up and you're like, oh, wow, I'm glad I've been doing that for the past 25 years, you know? It's the same thing with kids. It's like, oh, well, they're hard and they're expensive and you're not going to be able to go out and do what you want. And you're like, yeah, that's kind of true. But then you wake up one day and you're like, oh, wow, like I've got this... like these little human beings that we have stuff in common with, and you know, it's like
people I actually like.
It's great.
I figured I'm just raising people I want to be around. So
yeah, that's it. That's exactly
what it's down to.
Yeah, totally.
Trying to raise people that I want to be around.
Yeah, giving back to society and helping people out. So
exactly. Well, and with 4 girls, I have to split my heart 4 ways plus my wife. So I guess I got a 5-way split.
5-way split, dude. So you barely have a heart left.
Investing into that. Yeah, right. I got no heart, man. I'm totally heartless. Yeah.
You're like, I'm heartless. I have 5 women in my life.
No, the beauty of it is because they do so many things together, I get to kind of not participate in some activities, but I get to participate in the ones I want to be in, which is amazing. And at the same time, you know, they may talk for 100,000 words in an hour, and I just sit around and listen. So I don't have to talk if I don't want to.
Yeah, that's great.
They just do their,
do their talking. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I'm the best listener in the world. Dad is such a great listener because I don't have to talk. I just sit there and listen.
That's right. And think about all those weddings you're going to have to pay for someday.
Oh, brother. I got that figured out.
You got it figured out?
Oh, heck yeah, dude.
Okay.
You're getting X amount of money. That's it.
Okay.
God bless. Go on. Have a great time. But if you guys want to spend beyond that, is your own problem. Just don't go in debt.
Yeah. So are you going to give them the like, here's 20 grand. You can spend whatever you want on a wedding or keep half of it to like build a nest egg.
Well, I suppose they won't be listening to this podcast, so I could say it out loud, because if they're going to listen to it, then they're going to find out what happens later on. But each of them is probably going to get a special gift. Well, we have 50 acres, so at this point, there's actually 4 houses. We're closing on the 4th one up the hill, and then so there will be another house out here for somebody who wants to be on the property. So, getting them off on the right foot is the goal, and keeping them out of debt so they can pick up their little areas over here and literally just give them some land as a gift.
That's awesome.
And, set them up for the next step.
Yeah, we have a rental property close by where we currently live, and Denver is so expensive, like especially since COVID, it's just a skyrocket in value, and it's unaffordable for any young couple. And I'm thinking like, how are our kids going to be able to like have a family and have a home? Like, even for us, it was like, okay, 200 grand was a lot of money, a decade ago, and when we bought our first home or our second home, really. But then now it's like that same home is like $700,000, and it's like, how are they going to be able to afford that?
They're not
it's not like their pay increase has, it's not like they've got more. So it's cool that you have that foresight and opportunity
in mind. Life. What is it? Mice and men and all that stuff, right? So at the end of the day, we'll see what happens, but the opportunity will be there for them. Yeah. And hey, look, they could always squirrel away something in a 401k or build a business or do something else. It might help them out, right?
Yeah, that's right. And then or they might marry a doctor or lawyer or, or they might marry a 7-figure Amazon store e-com expert,
That was a genius pivot. It was a total genius pivot. That could happen too.
You never know.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little business. Since we got the platitudes out of the way, but
for everybody who's still listening.
Yeah, everyone's like, I'm out of here. Homeschool, 90s music.
Come on, get to the good stuff.
No, but how did you get into the whole e-com world and doing that stuff?
Well, after I got my van down by the river, and I jumped out of college.
You're like, I stopped smoking the doobies.
Yeah, man, I gotta stop. Try to be a motivational speaker, and that didn't work. No, the affect of it was I just fell into it. Literally, just by not giving up, just being tenacious, maybe being a little too stubborn, maybe willing to risk too many things.
Yeah.
I jumped out of my corporate job in 2007 and said, goodbye, fired the man, left, never going back.
Nice.
Had children and was like, well, I can't put these kids in the system. So my wife was like, well, I don't want to either. And so let's figure it out, sell the cars or do whatever. Let's make it go.
Dude, so that's awesome. Yeah. That's totally kind of what I did too, as far as when we had our first kid. My wife and I decided, like, all right, we want you to stay home with the kids, and we don't want, whatever. So I was working retail today. I was like, we're in Apple.
Oh,
and
you were a genius.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I got sent to California back in the day. They'd send us to California for 2 weeks, and we get our hardware and software certifications.
I didn't know the presence of an Apple genius.
I know people like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a genius. They're like, oh, I'm like, no, literally. It says it on my shirt. Awesome. But then I picked up a camera and started doing photography and video and like graphic design and stuff like that. Yeah. And so then it was like, I was just hustling, doing my day job nights and weekends,
You were hustling. Well, I was hustling to figure out how to make things go, figuring out how to make things sell. And then I stumbled on mobile marketing before, Facebook interfaces and paid traffic and other stuff today. And I started doing mobile marketing with spreadsheets and campaigns and affiliates. And that actually took off pretty darn well. Only took me about 300 campaigns to figure it out. And about 50,000 in credit card debt. But hey, go me, right?
Yeah, you figured it out.
Yeah, and then I figured it out, and it took off, and it actually did really well. But that kind of geared me towards a different part of the business than I was in technology and business and knowledge management and all this stuff, and actually was in part of AI systems and played around with the Watson Superblue computer and ARMA at IBM.
Oh wow, like in the OG days,
back at 20 plus years ago when the AI was being invented. Right. Out of those systems, and a lot of the platforms we see today based on that. So the long story of it, I didn't want to keep doing all that. So media and social and marketing was something I needed to do for my business. So I taught myself how to do that and got pretty good at it. And just figured out that it was a lot easier to own both the product and the marketing because I was not doing that with the affiliate side. Right. And I said, well, how am I going to do that? I've never done it before. What's branding? What's a business? What's products? And I was selling other people's products, which is difficult to do because sometimes it goes really well. And then they decide not to sell the product anymore and you're host.
Yeah.
So I didn't have control. I'm like, crap, things would be working really well. And, the people in South Africa at one point really loved their dating apps. Ask me how I know. And so,
how do you know that?
I do know that. They really were crazy for those downloads. And it was doing really well. But I was like, okay, they stopped that advertising. And I was like, crap. I can't sell that product. And so I'm like, how do I actually sell that product? What made sense to me was physical products, like a tangible, controllable, physical thing that I could have in my hand. And I'm like, okay, I get this. I've done digital. I understand the physical. And how do I do that? And literally a friend of mine had just started selling products on Amazon. And I'm like, you're selling books? He goes, no, I'm actually selling like full products. They're doing that now. And I'm like, what?
Yeah,
they bought this logistics company and they called it Fulfilled by Amazon. And it's basically the stuff you see today when you click a buy box and it shows up 2 days later at your doorstep. That's a logistics freight company that's actually owned by Amazon.
Wow.
And so they were able to sell all these other things besides books. And he's like, man, I'm selling this kind of product. And I'm like, wow, maybe I could do that as well. And so I just started to flip products and figure the process out. And I did get a course for all of 2 weeks, only to find out I knew more than the course taught me. So I just refunded it. And in the process of the course, I met another gentleman who got introduced. His name was Reed. And Reed and I had a conversation. He's like, man, I understand all this already. I'm looking for the next step. And I'm like, so am I. And after an hour conversation, we're like, we should do something together. We can probably figure this out. He had the technical and detailed, and, you know, he was the analytical type of personality profile. I'm more of the like marketing, big picture, and, you know, thought process kind of guy, and let's see where the big things can do, and let's jump off a bridge and jump off and just do it. And he's like, no, we didn't build a parachute. And I'm like, no, come on, we're going.
We'll figure it out.
So we did that together, and that part of that, you know, combined affect was if I jumped and pushed and tested, he was coming behind and fixing and doing and correcting and building. And so we just figured out how to do our physical products, and we've landed on our first brand in 2012, 13-ish, and about 2014 or so, we had our first 7-figure brand on Amazon.
Yeah. That's awesome. And
took off.
I mean, it's crazy to see. Well, I mean, I feel like e-com's been a thing now for
a long time.
A decade. Yeah, like a while, like, you know, where people are thinking like, oh, I want to get in and start selling. And I've had a few friends whose dads have retired. I'm like, oh, I'm going to start an e-com business, and, you know, whatever. But it is interesting how you said owning both aspects of like the product and the marketing. Yeah. To me, it makes so much sense, because especially too, I always feel like I have an eye for a product, you know, like I'll see something and be like, oh, you know, I'll be on Alibaba, like just scrolling through, and I'm like, dude, and especially, you know, as a marketer and someone who creates video content and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, I could like make a cool video that does that, and then I could just put that on some ads and like run that, and people would buy this. Like, this is, you know, the thing. But you know, I think there's that aspect of like, okay, if you have an eye for a product and then you have the marketing aspect for it too, then you can kind of marry those things together, and then you really have something that can, you know,
it's conditioning. What you're talking about is basically a form of conditioning. We call it in the first phase, you know, what the hell do I sell? Yeah. Which is literally like, of all these ideas and concepts, what should I sell? And our process was to stumble upon products until we started to realize, you know, what was the difference between this one selling and that one sort of selling, and what were we doing with the, you know, language and the copy and the images and differently here, and this product was doing differently. And we just started to analyze everything, right? Like just to get to the process of figuring out what was working and what could be repeated, systematized, and then grown as a business should be grown. And so with the brand and stuff, we just started to realize that there's all this demand that already exists, and it was growing exponentially through platforms like Amazon and others, right? And with that demand, we just realized, you know, this platform is capturing this the demand. And the first time we found our second brand was, I was up at like 3 a.m. with my third daughter, giving her a bottle. I'm a late night guy anyways, and I don't sleep as much as my wife does. And she was super tired with 3 kids. We had, you know, the 4 were under 5 years if you did the math, right? So we were just crazy busy with diapers, like flinging like 24/7, right? Bottle here, diaper there, puke here, poop there, clean this, shower. Like, man, 10 years of just like every day, right? Yeah. And so she's tired, and I'm up, and I'm feeding, and up pops this infomercial, right, on TV. And I'm like, they're selling, like, there's a product, it's selling. Like, we could sell the crap out of that. Look at that. They're probably just $500,000 commercial even at 4 a.m. I'm like, we could sell this. Go to Amazon, they're on, but it sucks. And we're like, hey, we could probably just take that demand. So it became part of what we call our as seen on TV strategy. And that product ended up being a 7-figure brand we created, because we just went in and took the demand that already existed, created a very simple, innovative product to compete with them, and charged a little more money and just out-marketed them. Yeah. It sold 2,000 units organically in the first 8 weeks. We're like, oh, we're flying off the shelf. Let's do this. Like, let's go. And eventually led me to a conversation through another relationship that I met Kevin Harrington, who was the guy that created the as seen on TV strategy. He was the first shark on Shark Tank. Oh, nice. And we met him in 2016. Oh, right. And got to have a pretty good conversation relationship, and eventually a mentoring and personal relationship with him in business. He wrote the foreword on my book from last year about this strategy, where we literally take ideas and demand and customer needs that already exist in the marketplace. We identify how much there are and where their competition is, and basically, like you said, how do I tweak and innovate a few things to outmaneuver them so that I can outmarket and sell them? Because
that's the thing, right? Is like, the outmarketing. I think about the ShamWow guy. You know, the ShamWow guy. Like, that was like a 5-cent towel that he got in China that was like a microfiber that anybody could get. Right? Yeah, exactly. But he just like put on his headset, and he freaking what it comes down sold the crap out of it. You
gotta have a great product. Let's be very clear. So some people are thinking, you know, we should buy cheap Chinese crap. No, we have that. We call that our CCCP problem, right? So everything in the CCCP is something you don't want to sell. So you can't sell the Me Too product, a cheap product. we are actually selling stuff in the $50 to $500 retail price point, typically averaging $100 to $350 in price point. So when we go for a product, we're going for a high-end, higher engineered, innovated product that has a market competitor that already has a need, and I actually know what those needs are.
Yeah.
I've got them from Amazon itself, from its own data set. I have our process we call the Greenlight process that's about profitability first. So we got demand, profitability, customer need. So we get a great product, and then we outmaneuver them with the marketing, and we can sell the crap out of these products. It's just a process. It's a data-driven process that doesn't really take emotions into account.
Which is great, because it can be such an emotional thing.
What do I choose? Is it going to fail? Is it going to work? What happens if it doesn't sell right? What if I put money in it? What if it doesn't? What if it doesn't? Yeah, the what if thing could go into like crazy.
What do you think the biggest myth people believe about selling on Amazon?
Well, just in general, I think e-com, Amazon is just a sales channel, to be very clear. I sell on every sales channel, right? Even retail. But Amazon is just a channel I take people to because there's the 49% of all U.S. demand goes through that channel.
Right. Yeah. So you already got the eyeballs.
But take them to the place where people buy. And don't think about it a lot. They click add to cart and go, and it's here in 2 days. I don't like it. I return it. If I really don't like it, I leave a bad review, right? People know that already, and there's 49% demand. So I can test it and incubate that, right? And I can eat that, and I can put it in there and find out. So, most of the myths are that there are no good products. They're all sold. There's nothing new.
Yeah.
I need something super inventive. I need to be like Elon Musk, or I'm not going to sell a product anybody wants. And that there is no way to make profit in those products. And those are all myths, because once you target a product type with a certain kind of brand, in a location with customer demand, high demand, you make sure the profit minimum is above, for us, $12, typically $24 to $100 in profit per unit. So I can make money, pay my people, market it, keep a profit at the end of the day, and repeat that process.
Yeah.
You get those out of the way, and there are millions of product opportunities. Dude, let's just give you some scope. Like one of my clients did $311,000 on the first day of Amazon Prime. Had another one do $126,000. Had another one do $100,000. Had another one do $25,000. We had accounts doing $50,000 to $150,000 in one day. So there is huge demand. So the last part is whether or not we invent. And the actual thing is there are so many customer needs out there. If you just look around your house, look at what you bought in the last 90 days. If it's on Amazon, then by their Amazon's own admission, more than 60% of those products you bought from people like us.
Right.
So why not you? Because it's usually just find a process, not a product. Because what we do is we sell data to an AI engine.
Yeah.
And that AI engine finds a customer and delivers the product and deals with the returns, deals with the customers, and handles the automation. So my job is not to get into that product engineering mind kind of thing, like if you build it, they will come sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, I noticed on some of your stuff, you were kind of talking a lot about product agnostic selling,
Yes, product agnostic. Profit is the key, right?
Yeah.
If I will sell fuzzy bunny slippers to grandma if it's profitable and she loves it and wants to tell everybody in the nursing home how much she loves those slippers, right?
Right.
It really gets down to if the product is profitable, don't fall in love with the product. Don't marry the product. We marry the brand. And this is where a lot of people get confused. Like, I don't know if you're a smoker or whatever.
I enjoy a cigar from time to time.
Every once in a while, cigars? Okay. So, but you've probably heard of Lucky Strikes, right?
Yeah.
But you've never bought a Lucky Strike, maybe, or you've never smoked one, or you don't know the packaging, but you know the brand, right? You probably know a Lamborghini, maybe you don't own one. You know a Ferrari, maybe you don't own one.
Yeah.
But you know the brand. You may not even be able to name which particular product type, car type, model type they have. Maybe you can do one. But the end result is people will stay to brands. They will stay connected to brands. So what we want to do is find products that build connectivity to the brand, and we want every product to become a bridge to the brand because every product has a life cycle.
Right.
So we don't want to marry the products. They may be for 2 years or 4 years or 6 years, but they may not be there later on, so we may have to tweak or innovate them in the marketplace in order to keep the brand moving. Mm-hmm. So most people don't recognize that Apple's best. You know what Apple's best-selling product is? Mr. Genius bar.
I mean the iPhone.
Nope, it's AirPods.
AirPods.
Not the first product they launched, too, right? Not even the third or fourth product they launched.
Yeah, it was way down the road.
But it's the number one bestseller of all their products combined.
Interesting.
Is the AirPods.
The profit margins are probably great on those.
Right, but it wasn't. You see, the point is, if you launch products, so our process is 5 by 5. You must launch 5 products to sell an average of 5 a day to start a 25 sales a day process. So you can define your niche and then start replicating that through products. So you need to test. and validate the market with a small amount of units. And then you will go after larger amounts of units once we know the data has proven I can sell this version over that version, and this version is higher profitability than that version. And then I simply follow the data. I don't marry the first product or the second product or the third product. I marry the data, I marry the brand, and then I go figure out which product in that one is going to meet that customer need that's already in demand. You do that and get out of the way, and organic AI traffic engines like Amazon and viral social media will do it for you.
Yeah. With AI on the rise, how do you see Amazon evolving in the next year or few? I mean, because I already see it in Google. We have a lot of clients who depend on SEO, and man, SEO has been tanking because people are now going.
It's going to die through ChatGPT and other methods,
people are going straight to ChatGPT and just having conversations with it of like, what product should I get, or what who should I work with, and it's just serving that up. So I mean, what do you see that like in the Amazon world? Are they kind of incorporating some of that stuff?
They incorporated it about 2 to 3 years ago, and a lot of Amazon sellers haven't figured this out yet, or they haven't caught up with it. They moved from like Google side was keywords and stuff, so Amazon had its keywords too, but it's really customer need, customer intent now. So it is super smart with all this terabytes, petabytes, zettabytes. What's after a zettabyte? Gigabyte.
Yeah.
And so much data that they know that when you go to sleep, when you wake up, what your favorite color is, probably when you went to the bathroom last. They have so much data on every person, and 200 million Amazon Prime customers. They know exactly what you intend to buy because of certain life events, even tracking social media and stuff through AI that's profiling a customer need type. Now they've moved these entire engines into customer need based on that AI system running behind it. It's called Cosmo. Okay. And this is moved off of an engine they had a long time ago, and it is moved to AI about 2+ years ago. They have a little thing called Rufus now, which you might have seen, the little helper assistant that comes up inside of Amazon's app, Rufus or whatever. It's pulling in all this information, and thanks to the 200 million people in the system, it's curating and correlating all of that data by using that human-powered crowdsourcing information to power the Cosmo engine to make it more intelligent. So they're basically using people to learn and train the AI.
So do we make any decisions on our own anymore?
No, I'm surprised that most people haven't figured that out.
It's like, I thought of this, right? It's like,
I knew I needed this. It's like, no, I knew you were a pregnant woman. I knew you needed slippers. Right. I knew you were complaining about your feet hurting, and so here's a pair of slippers. Yeah. Or I knew you were watching this show, and it was about brides, and I saw that you were checking out bride dresses, so here's a bunch of stuff for your bridesmaids. Like, it's going to know with customer intent to correlate these things about your life and events and then put them right in front of you. And Amazon will put it on Prime and Twitch and Freevee and the movies, and it's going to start becoming more and more grained that you're not watching some random commercial when you're watching Bridezillas on, Amazon Prime. It's going to start showing you dresses and bride things because it's intending you to buy, and you believe it's going to buy, and it believes you're going to buy something relative to your intent. So we have tracked that down and discovered basically the 103,000 needs that power all of the 700 billion on Amazon. I know exactly what the top needs are, and I know where they're ranked and how much traffic there is from Amazon telling me exactly what the traffic numbers are. And so I go into my software and I literally put in whatever I think I want, camping, outdoor, beauty, etc. And then I just follow the needs. Needs take me to the location where I should put it in this big digital filing cabinet, and then it takes me down to which product I should actually sell. So then I just figure out which one's the most profitable. I manufacture a version, an innovative version of that product, and I test it in the market. And then the market tells me what I'm not smart enough to know, because I don't want to be smart enough like Elon Musk. I just want the market to say, hey, dude, sell more of this one. And then I follow that.
What do you think branding plays, in an Amazon strategy?
Yep.
I mean, what do you think? Is it necessary?
No, not at first. Why? I'm borrowing brand. If I'm putting something on any platform online anymore, I'm borrowing someone else's brand. It's people are like, they don't get this just yet. It hadn't quite clicked. But if I'm on social media and putting myself on social media and it's Instagram, I'm borrowing Instagram's brand to create and leverage my authority. When I put it on Amazon, I'm doing the same thing. When I put it on TikTok, I'm doing the same thing. When I'm on Facebook, I'm doing the same thing. I'm leveraging someone else's brand authority.
Right.
So I leverage Amazon's brand authority to put that into the marketplace until someone buys my product. Once they buy my product, that's my ability to control the brand after that, right? And because it's their customer to start off with. But once I incubate that and test it in that market, I test it to 7-8 figures in sales, I can go out to retail, I can go to direct marketing, I can go to Shopify, I can go to TikTok, I can take this product base out to the greater 51% that isn't buying on Amazon. and sell it everywhere else too.
Yeah. What do you think the biggest, because I feel like throughout the years, I've always seen like, that 28-year-old kid is like, yeah, I became a millionaire overnight, and then I scaled too quickly and then I became broke, and it's like, what?
Such a great story.
You know that story, right?
Oh, I hear that story all the time. It's so sad. And then they're like, oh, and by the way, buy my $97 ads course on how I turned it around.
Yeah,
like, you jerk
exactly.
off. No, million in revenue is not a million in profit. Let's be very clear. And gross margin doesn't make a hell of beans if you don't have a good net profit and a decent gross profit. So people have to get their business fundamentals down first.
Well, right. It's like, okay, to spend $2 million to make $1 million, that doesn't make sense.
Dude, I had a guy come through one time. He's like, I'm making $3 million on it. I'm like, why are you talking to me? He's like, well, blah, blah, blah. And about 30 minutes into the conversation, I find out he spent about $2.9 million to earn the three. And I'm like, you made $100,000 in net profit before taxes? I'm like, what? You made like $45,000 on $3 million in sales. No, these guys are all over the place, right?
Yeah.
I'm not here. I don't have anything to sell you. I only have invites for people to be serious about business and look at what they do because of what my plan is for everybody and the ones that have worked with me.
Right. Because your big thing, right, is like helping people build with the exit in mind.
That's right. 100% why? Because I want to own their company. I'm going to tell you my big, evil, capitalistic agenda, right?
Well, it's kind of like Alex Hormozy. He has the acquisition.com. Do you know Alex? It's like,
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, exactly. Like his whole thing is like, hey, I want to give you all the free information. I want to help you grow your business and I want you to be massive success so then I can buy you.
Yeah, and I separate that down to people that I know we're seriously going to put money, time, energy, attention, and money into working with us so that they can build something successfully so that later on I can offer the opportunity to buy it from them. So we're the beginning and the end. I have a private equity group. We have a purpose and value behind it. We're supporting veterans through our group.
That's cool.
Called Patriot Growth Capital. So as we acquire companies, we're hiring veterans in there, and our goal is to hire more and more veterans. And PGC helped 16,000 veterans last year.
Dang,
so as we acquire these companies and build them up, there's a whole purpose behind what we do beyond it. But I don't take equity with anybody up front, but I do challenge them to come in. They become part of our group. We work 12 months one-on-one with them, and I build CEO operators. I don't build employees. I have no employees because of it. And I started this around 2019 in the way we do it now because I had raised about $100 million in capital to go buy companies to do this, and I had about closed the deal down in November 2021, and then we stopped. The numbers did not work anymore.
Really?
The market had been acquiring businesses 40% above the market. That's like going down and trying to buy a car. Like, this is my favorite Tesla. I'll give you 40 grand more over price. And people are like, what the stupid?
Right.
And so we were like, no, we can't buy companies at 40% above markup. There was so much business throwing so much money out that people were doing stupid stuff with it.
Well, it's kind of like the housing market, right? Where it's like, I remember we were buying a home in 2022 and like we put 7 offers on different properties and we were getting outbid 50, 100 grand over asking price, and it was like, what the heck?
Big private equity groups, certain ones with a certain color, when the rock behind it were coming in and taking things. Well, they were doing similar to that in the acquisition world around the Amazon and e-commerce businesses, and they overinflated the market just to buy it. Well, what ended up happening is it went down 35% 2 years later, and I was thankfully right to not take the money and do it at that point. Yeah, well, thank God. He protected us from that. But the end was they imploded, and some of them are being invested for funds and frauds, and they're going bankrupt, and it's all falling apart. But there's blood in the water. So what do we know about business, Mark, and blood in the water?
That's right.
You move. So now we're moving into acquisitions again. We're going into deals that are actually now priced fairly. Our first one will close. We kissed 400 businesses to get to this really good business that we're going to acquire, and it's all done, hopefully as of today with the final lawyers.
That's
and we'll
awesome.
acquire it, be done by end of August or so.
What makes a brand sellable? Like, especially in the Amazon ecosystem, like what are you looking for, or like, what does it look like? I mean, because in the grand scheme of things, I mean, I think it's really cool. A lot of our audience is entrepreneurs, small business owners, or even people who are maybe just looking to get a side hustle going or start something. And in my mind, it seems like, wow, like if you could almost build a whole thing off of something that's already created and already rocking and rolling and has an ecosystem, and then it's like you're building up to eventually sell it, which is kind of
move it off, right? So always go beyond Amazon. If it's your first platform to start with, I like to take beginners there because they have all that built-in traffic. They have eyeballs on offer, and sales fixes everything, right? So we want to get to those sales. We know they're there. We just need to go get them, and when that now becomes an opportunity, we'll open additional channels, right? to make more money on the basis points of a sale, or what points you get, the percentage points of the sale value. It's going to be based on the profit. So as we continue the profit forward, the more channels we open, the more profit we're going to sell that business for. So Amazon, if it's a great business, running more than $1 million in profit a year, it'll be 3 to 4 points on the bottom. So that'd be 3 to 4 times the $1 million is what you could exit for. But if you have a subscribe and save on there, which people are buying continuously on, if you have a website, if you open TikTok, if you go to retail, and that's like 20% of your sales, and Amazon's 80% of your sales, you're looking anywhere between 5 to 10x. If you open those additional channels to maybe half Amazon, half other, you could see 10 to even 15x in the business.
Because it's a guaranteed win for you as an acquirer, right?
Grow it, build it. Well, because I helped them build it from the beginning. So if we're going through the learn, launch, exit, growth, scale, exit thing, then I'm watching them. I'm seeing who they are as operators. I've asked certain people in our group, hey, would you like to come operate a company with me? And so we have operators that run our companies. I've got 12 brands that I control within my business, that we own as part of Voltage. So if anybody's wondering, we don't client stuff. We run our own businesses. We do have some additional client accounts that are built out of our Business Builders group. And then my operators came from within there. So as the cream of the crop rose to the top and I saw my CEO operators come up and do very well with the business, I said, hey, you want a percentage of profit to come help me run this company? And they're like, absolutely. Or, hey, we're acquiring this company. Do you want to help me come run it? And they're like, absolutely. So I raised up the people that help me run the companies. I don't have any employees.
Dude, that's fantastic.
Took a while, but it was the right way to do it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is everything takes work. I mean, the biggest thing I see is that people come in thinking it's going to be some sort of overnight success or some silver bullet to solve their problem, and then they try to grind for like a week or 2 or 6 weeks, and then they get like, it's not working. It's not working, and we
call that
pivot.
the Hopium mindset, right? That's that lottery Hopium scratcher. If I build, it usually comes from a point of desperation or a concern, and so I don't really play in the side hustle hobby business. If people are going to work with us, they got to be serious about building a business. It's a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year venture. It's going to require capital to get involved, at least a minimum $25K in year 1. Our businesses, when we partner, take 200 down in the first year to go to market. So we're going after, the opportunity to build a life-changing generational wealth opportunity. 3, 4, 5 years, these businesses are turning off 1, 2, 3, 4 million in profit. That's life-changing money when you build that. And you're building an asset. Everybody has to remember that. Anything short of time, everything I did in the past until I started building brands that I controlled was a side hustle. I was working a business, but I was really just creating a job for myself. And I didn't really realize I was just trading time for money in a different way. And it looked one way, but in actuality, I was still a slave to the machine. Now I've created systems, operators, and automation that allows me to be more freed up to do the things I want to do and work with only the people I want to work with. And so that, creates the opportunity to work with some really go-getters. And these people are typically motivated. They came in with tenacity and perseverance. They're typically looking for wealth without Wall Street. They're like, hey, I'm not sticking this stuff into a 401k for the next 20 years. I want some more control over where my money goes. And maybe they've had success in real estate or other places, or they're a high W-2 earner, or I got doctors and lawyers and state reps and military pilots and stay-at-home moms and 19-year-old high school dropouts in my group. It really gets down to aptitude. So I always talk to every person, don't have a sales team, qualify every person who comes to make sure it's a good fit. I say no to a lot of people because it is not a good fit. And I'm really just looking for those top players, right? To come in and say, hey, look, are we be successful together? Spend 12 months working this out with me. It could change your life in the next 3 to 5 years. I'm going to be the one who's looking to buy your company anyway. So stick around and let's see where this thing goes.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a fun thing.
What habits? What habits or routines do you think have helped you stay focused as a business owner over the years?
Every morning, I get up and go walking with my wife. We do 4 to 5 hours every day. We will typically have breakfast together and coffee, and if it's hot like today, we'll go swim. And then I don't start work until 10 in the morning. We will do a lot of things with family when there's time between calls or other stuff, or the kids are like, hey, let's go swim. We do that. I think a lot of it is realizing that I choose my schedule. I choose what I do. I have the freedom to do it. And it isn't just about the money, it's the mindset. I know that people feel like it has to be about the money, but in actuality, the freedom to get the money comes from you freeing your mind and actually realizing that you have a freedom of choice. You may not feel like it. Well, Neil, I can't do this. Neil, I have a mortgage. Neil, I had that. Dude, I've been bankrupt with 3 kids and a pregnant wife. You have a choice. You always have a choice,
Yeah.
right? You have the freedom to make those choices. You have the freedom to be empowered to make those choices. Yes, they may come with some positive, some negative consequences, but if you're scared of that, then you're going to be scared of doing anything in life or business. So go get a job, literally.
Yeah. Right.
Because business is walking on faith. I will tell you, number one is the 5 F's for me. Faith is number one. If you have no faith in yourself, faith in your business, faith in a higher power, faith in your ability to overcome problems and solve them and keep going, you will fail in business at the end of the day. You will simply give up before something successful happens. And the other two are family and friends, very closely tied, because sometimes family is closer than friends.
Right.
And sometimes friends can be family, right? But one way or another, without 5 people that you can stand around and look and say, who are the support network that will be with me till the very end, you need to find who those people are, or you need to get involved in it. I've had to ask to be involved. I have to pay and be involved in some of those groups in order to get access to those people. And it has been very important to my success, because their mindsets, once you get in there, they're like, they don't take that BS. They don't listen to your complaints. They don't want to hear your excuses.
So are you saying you're an advocate for like coaching or mastermind groups and things like that?
For the right kind? Absolutely. It has to be.
Because there's a lot of grifters out there who are trying to, like, sell, there's a lot of grifters.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? They will typically be the guys that are offering you the $1, $2, $3, $4, $5,000 courses. So if you're not willing to pay more than $5,000 for a mentor, you're typically going to fall into a scam. I'm sorry, that's just the truth. Those folks are typically just trying to sell coaching for coaching's sake. Right? My mentorships are $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 in price point. Right. Those guys are doing the business. They're the deca millionaires. They're the doorways into groups you can't get access to if you don't become a part of that group or know somebody who's in it. And you have to speak the speak, walk the walk, show the proof, and talk the talk. And if you can't do that, they won't keep you around. Right? You don't just get invited to that. You have to become a part of it. So with that, I think a lot of people need to realize that with real business building comes real capital, real time, real risk, right? The risk to reward ratio is that. And that comes down to the finances at the end of the day. You have to be willing to risk your finances to get reward. If you think it's for free and you're going to be like the less than 1% who have success. If you think you can organic your way through to your success, that's only less than 1%. Those are 99% of us who have success. Paid in time, we paid in dues, blood, sweat. We put, credit cards and payrolls happened. We risked it. Some of us went bankrupt. Many of us did to get to any level of success. And we have been willing to fail up and forward through the things that you're still afraid of. And until you can overcome that fear and do it anyways, you're not going to sit on the other side of this mic. That's just the truth of it. You're going to have to walk that walk. And it's tough, man. It's not for the faint of heart. But the last part of the entire stack is that you have freedom. You really do. Why? Because I can choose to work with who I want to. I can choose to fire who I want to, or not work with them, or not put them in my network, or not be on a podcast, or do a podcast, or whatever I want. I have the freedom to choose.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Faith,
and that's probably the greatest
family,
thing.
Friends, finances, and freedom. That's the 5 F's.
The 5 F's. There's one more F. We won't go there.
That's after the bankruptcy.
You can. What is that? Hooked on phonics joke with the thing. You can PHUCKED off.
That's so funny.
Hooked on phonics.
What was the last book you read that changed your thinking?
The last book I read that changed my thinking. It's kind of an old one, but I super recommend it because 80% of it's still relevant, even though it's well over 10 years old. And that's oh crap! It's the orange book. I almost lost it. It's setting right back.
E-Myth Revisited.
Good to Great. There it was.
Oh, Good to Great. Okay. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Jim Collins, the whole study they did, the length of time they did the study, the amount of businesses featured in there, and where they went and what they were considered to be good and great, the people that were on and off the bus, or whether they get into a different seat in the bus. There's some very core principles in there that really enlightened my entire understanding.
Did you ever have a struggle? Again, you've been doing this for a while, but
18 years.
Yeah. What? Were there times where you just felt lazy or unmotivated, or
all the time.
You ended up
I'm
watching
the laziest person you'll ever
Netflix
meet,
instead of
dude, I'm lazy. Don't get me wrong. I think what I've come to figure out, and this is going to sound really arrogant, I'm going to say this the wrong way, so forgive me, but I think
I'm super hot.
It's I'm so precious. No, my lazy tends to be greater than other people's achievements.
I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt.
That is t-shirt worthy. No, I know that's not okay.
I know what you mean, though. Like, I know what you mean. Like, in the sense of, it's funny because, and a lot of times I talk to my wife about this, and I'm thinking like, oh man, I just don't feel like I'm doing enough, or I feel like, I've been slacking or whatever. And she's like, yeah, dude, you work harder than anybody else. Like, you're like you. And so for me, it's like, it's weird because if I'm not working like 100,000 hours, a week, it's like, I feel like,
man, you can't like keep going so hard. Like,
yeah, but it's
you're
like
the only one that's there. You always show up. You're 5 times faster. You do this stuff. You're like, you gotta slow down, man. You're gonna blow up, and we need you to stay here for the next 20 years. It sounds really arrogant, and I'm not trying to be that way. The truth of it is, I don't. I have a natural, probably God-given tenacity to just not quit, to not give up, to do more than, and to be accepting of any failure that I might do, because this room is filled with failures. Make no mistake. To be willing to change when others maybe aren't, to willing to look at the, as he said in the book, the nasty, ugly, squiggly things that are under the rock, to ask what is the worst that can happen, put it in my head, say, okay, well, I'll deal with that if it happens. I'm not dead, and if I'm dead, I'm going off into heaven, so there be it. I'll figure it out here on earth, and to just keep going and do the things that are necessary to do, and to do them with the right people at the end of the day, and try to be as smart as possible about who I do them with.
Yeah,
it just tends to be something that I can do more of.
Yeah. So faith is one of those principles. Are you a religious man?
I would say I am a true follower of Christ.
Okay. Yeah. So
not a religious man.
No, but that's cool. I mean, I can really respect that and relate to that, because I always love to chat with people when I start hearing little like glimpses or hints of spirituality. Because one of the things I think I struggled with, especially earlier on or when I was younger, and coming up in the entrepreneur world, it's all about this, hustle, grind, crush, and creating the perfect email sequence and funnel to hack, whatever it is. And then at what point do you trust that God's in control and that, he's like gone before you, he's working on your behalf, and, he's guiding your steps?
You can see it if you are willing to slow down and accept that not everything you're doing you did on your own. Literally. Yeah. And then you can give someone else credit for it.
Right.
And when you do that, if you're a faith-based man or a person, then you might look and say, well, God helped me with that. When Jesus was there, when no one else was. When I needed somebody to talk to, he would answer me. He would talk to me. He would listen.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect process by any measure at all. But I would say that the most successful people I know in business have a faith bigger than themselves and something greater than their accomplishments. And I think that's one of the reasons why they've had so much success.
And I think for me, it's like, I've had some really dark, scary times, and if I couldn't call out to God and be like, dude, I'm at my end, like, help me, like if I didn't have that trust or faith that there was something out there.
Standing in the bottom, and this happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, of their dank, gray walled, cinder blocked, fluorescent blinking lights from like Joel versus a volcano, courtroom that ended up being a basement with 20 fold up chairs and 20 fold up tables with 20 judges standing there with a lot of other pitiful souls who were crying and, trying to go through that bankruptcy court with my pregnant wife. That was a low moment in my confidence. That was a low moment in my life, right? And we walk into this place, and we've got a plan, and we sit down, and our entire life is in one folder now because it all had to be disclosed. It all had to be figured out. And I'm like, well, crap, this is not going as planned. I'd over-leveraged myself into a business, and it turns out there was 2 books that were being cooked, and I didn't know about the second one. And when I wasn't getting paid and putting money in the business, they were getting paid from funds, and it didn't work right. And so I had to get a lawyer and indemnify myself, and I got out of it because I didn't do anything wrong. But long story short, I also had to go bankrupt, and in the process spent all my money to do that. So ran out of all my money down to like $1,000 in the bank account. Actually, I have it on a screenshot. I keep it in my over here and just set it aside.
Just remember how broke you were.
Dude, broke.
Remember
right?
when the account was like,
there's no money
couldn't
for
even
food.
cover the
There's
mortgage.
like, oh, dude, scary times, right? And just confidence times. And here's where the faith showed up. I get in there, and we set this binder of our life down. We're like, we made a plan. We're going to own this. This is our plan to fix this. And 20 minutes into this conversation, this guy looks up at us, and I remember this, and he goes, "You guys need a break, don't you?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, you need somebody to believe in you." And I'm like, "Yes." Right? And he goes, "I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I'm going to wipe out your debt."
Wow.
Like, praise God, right? We do swipe the pin. set the deal down, said, you did everything in good faith, get out of here. And literally wiped out the debt and started over completely clear. And we had no credit.
Right.
We paid for 5 years of cash only for everything, and started to rebuild our credit and everything. And just, by every step after that, God just showed up. The next month I needed $1,816.53 to make our bills and the house and the lights and the things all go. And with like less than 500 in our bank account, somehow miraculously, I didn't steal it. It showed up, and we paid for our bills the next month. I don't remember exactly how it showed up, but there it was.
Yeah.
And these little things just kept happening. And as we went on that path, but there was dark times. I lost my confidence. I lost my way. I lost my purpose. I lost my, who am I? What happened? How did I allow this to happen? How did I get so deceived? How did I get to this point with my family and my kids? And what I ended up doing is just pouring into my family. Like, I couldn't get a job to save my life, dude. I applied for everything. And of course they were all, you're overqualified. You're just going to leave us. You can't do this. You're going to leave us. And this is going to date me a little bit, but Uber and Lyft really wasn't a thing at that point. So there was no going to do that. And there wasn't a whole lot of side hustle stuff, to do yet on the internet. It was coming up and moving pretty quick. And I eventually figured out, how to get through that. But yeah, that was just a point of time where without faith, I may have done something stupid. I may have lost myself in the world. I may have gone into that full deep depression. But at that point, I didn't. I turned to God. Yeah. And I just said, hey, man, it's all yours. I can't do anything about it. I can't get a job. I can't work. I'm not making any money. And he was just like, just sit here, like, just rest. Go enjoy your family. That's what I did. I just started focusing on my family. As it turns out, my wife became very sick due to a problem with the last pregnancy. She ended up in the hospital, where she actually died twice in the hospital. Wow. She died once in front of me from a morphine overdose from a botched surgery that had occurred for a hysterectomy. And with that, she went into 3 surgeries in 36 hours. She died on the operating table once, and they resuscitated her. And then they were able to get her back and eventually get it settled, about 4 days into the process, which was supposed to be a single surgery. She, came out alive, and she is okay now by the grace of God, but I had to become dad. So for the next 6 to 8 months, I'm dad, I'm a business guy, I'm taking care of the house, I'm doing everything. And that's why God was just like, just be here, man. I got the rest of this. This is right where you need to be. And so that's all I did. I became dad. Mom, the business guy, and everything. You know what happened in the middle of all that, dude? I figured out how to sell stuff on Amazon.
That's cool.
Figured out how to sell stuff on Amazon out of need.
Right. Yeah, and you wouldn't have gotten there unless you had all those things happening in your life.
I wouldn't have been willing to listen.
Right.
I would have said, it's a scam. I'm going to go work. What are you talking about? You can't sell. You're an idiot. I could have done all of that. Instead, I was just like, feed me. Yeah. I'll take it. What do you got? I want to learn. Let's do this.
Did she see the light at the end of the tunnel? Did she walk with Jesus?
She didn't have that kind of experience.
Okay.
Nope. For her, it was just a few seconds.
Right.
She didn't even realize what happened.
Yeah. You mentioned purpose. I know we've got to wrap this up, but I'm having a great time talking with you. And
it's been fun.
But where do you find how do you find your purpose? And what have you defined as your purpose?
That is what it's. So all the thing that led up to the bankruptcy was my desire to get to profits. I needed to make $1 million before I was 40, and I was doing anything possible to do that. So with that, I had my purpose and value inverted in my equation. I had profits over on this side of the balance sheet, and I had purpose and value on that side of the balance sheet. And that all came to a complete, wreck, right? And so after focusing on my family and dealing with my wife's recovery and getting back to that process, it was all about purpose and value. I have 4 kids under the age of 5. For 24 plus hours when I didn't know my wife was alive, I was reconciling that I was going to be a single parent with 4-year-old girls. And so I had to come to that. I didn't even know she'd lived through that. I hadn't even got any updates. So I had this whole time, like 24 hours, a long time to sit there and wonder if you're going to be by yourself with these young children. And I'm like, what am I going to do? How is this going to work? Like, I have to just start focusing on them. Like, ultimately, all of that conversation came back to, these kids need me. This is my purpose, right? I had to shift gears out of that guy's mindset and that money-making mindset and that whole thing and, go, do, and get into this is my purpose. These kids are my purpose. Like, I had to come to that reconciliation with the understanding she may not walk out of that hospital. And with that, all of that started to shift. So I personally had that experience and I was literally talking to my girls about this earlier, many people don't change until something very dramatic happens.
Right.
You've heard this,
Yeah,
I've
hit
heard this,
rock bottom,
you got cancer, so your life needs to change. Oh, this thing happened, so your life needs to change. Like, oh, I'm finally going to do it. It takes a very strong-willed person to say, I will change, even without some major catastrophe or event forcing them to change, a job loss or whatever. And so that was me. I was stubborn enough that I needed that. So my purpose and value became inverted through that process. And out the back end of that was, this is the way I need to leave my life. I will live it for the purpose and value. I will pour into others first. I will do what they need to do first. And by that, I will be served through that process, more like a servant leadership role. And then money will come from that. And I don't know how it's going to come from that, but that's just the way I'm going to do it now. That's exactly what happened. Is that I just put purpose and value over profit, which for me was putting my family's needs above my own.
Yeah. That's great, man. Love it. So if you had to start from scratch tomorrow, what would you do differently, you think?
Nothing. Nothing, because I wouldn't end up here. If I changed one little thing, like the millions of decisions it took to get to this point today to talk to you, I wouldn't be here on this amazing podcast, and I would not be with my wife or children, so I wouldn't change a single thing to not end up where I'm at, because I love my life. I love being around my family. I love that we're always together. I love that we have such a close relationship with this thing. I love the people that work in my business. My business partner, Reed, the guy for 1 hour, we're 12 years now in partnership together, which has been amazing. And all the people that we've supported in our community, and all the ones that get to make me look smart, since I don't have to be the smartest guy in the room anymore. It's really a wonderful thing. I really wouldn't change any of it, man. It's just been, I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yeah, no, totally. My mantra, I tell everybody is, be present. Don't worry how things are going to work out, and expect the blessing.
There you go. That's great. I'm going to borrow that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to steal it. I'm going to borrow it.
Borrow it. You got it.
That's wonderful.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, how can people connect with you if they want to, learn more about what you do and your business, and if they're interested in starting, an Amazon or e-com
I haven't
business.
scared you off.
we've done it all. So at this point, all your cards on the table. So
all your cards are on the table. Yes. You can go to voltagedm.com, voltagedigitalmarketing.com. Free presentation with myself and Kevin. The book is on there. There's information. There's trainings and stuff for free you can check out and understand the process, the 4 steps that everyone needs to take to become successful. And if it makes sense and you reach out, you'll get me. We'll have a conversation and maybe see if it's a good fit. Just don't show up expecting it to be free, number 1. And number 2, show up with the time, energy, attention, and money aspect of a team effort. And watch and understand and learn and see if this is a model that might make sense for you.
Love it. Well, hey, thanks so much for hanging out with us. And, thank you for listening to The Friday Habit, for tuning in and hanging out with us. If you go to thefridayhabit.com, you'll find show notes for this episode. There you can also find links to our websites and ways to get in touch. And at the bottom of the page, you can download our guide to the Friday Habit system that'll show you how to set aside 1 full day each week dedicated working on your business instead of always in your business. You can always hit us up at hello@thefridayhabit.com. And remember, until next time, live every day like it's Friday.